Hey, it's Mike on the mic again for another episode of the Pocket Knife Podcast. I have to start with an apology today. Months ago, a must-tell incident took place at my house, and I have not told you the story. I feel like a podcasting failure. How could this tale be so long untold? It's a travesty. No one should have to wait so long to hear an epic so great. I'm sorry. I shall try to make up for it by telling the story as well as I can. I came home from work one day in the far distant past. As I stepped into the kitchen from the garage, something didn't seem quite right. Items had been knocked over here and there were wood chips all over the counter to the right of the sink. Had there been a break-in? I called the police. A few minutes later, an officer pulled up to the curb out front. I knew the guy, so I greeted him warmly at the door and let him in. He looked at the damage, noted the presence of our TV and computer, items which would likely have been missing had this been a normal home invasion, and came to the conclusion no foul play was involved. My friend looked at me and hinted that I likely had an unwelcome guest, but not the pilfering kind. He suspected a visitor of a furrier sort. The level of destruction suggested something larger than a mouse. A rat? The hunt for whatever had made it in the house began. The doors were all secure and the windows shut, so how could a critter have gained entrance? We hadn't been knocking around the house long when the fireplace came to mind. It's a hearth with a gas hookup, but no insert, so we have our couch in front of it. I walked over, grabbed the far end of the couch, and pulled it out an inch or two or three. Beady eyes. I'm serious. A pair of tiny, alert as can be, probably terrified eyes stared out from the darkness at me. Found him, I said. The him in that sentence was a fattened up for winter squirrel. Looking back, I wish the officer had thought to turn on his body cam, or my wife would have had her iPhone camera on us. The footage of he and I, brooms in hand, trying to get our bushy-tailed guest out the door would have been gold. The squirrel ran in all the wrong directions, leaping in the air, hitting walls, but not going out the door which we had propped open. After some time, said rodent of unusual springiness bounded over the barrier we had placed between the living room, where the removal efforts had started, and the kitchen, where the window frame had been wrecked. I walked quickly to the back door and opened it while he hid. Only then did the sweeping of the broom handle underneath our coffee bar commence. It took less than a minute. The nut hoarder took the wrong way once or twice, then spotted the green grass through the large opening in the wall and sprinted for his natural habitat. I slammed the door shut behind him and sighed in relief. The mess was cleaned up after photos were taken in case our landlord had coverage for such circumstances. Now, months later, everything's fixed up in the kitchen. There's wire mesh over the chimney opening, no more errant critters where they don't belong. I apologize once again for the long delay in offering this nutty narrative up for your listening pleasure. I have no excuses, and I really don't have any weighty lesson to lay on you. This was just a story for storytelling's sake. Hope it brightened your day. Next week, I'll offer up something deeper. Maybe.